好，同志们，我们都在轰轰烈烈的站起来，站起来。Welcome to the 275th edition of China Now with your gang of two, Nan Su, who is the senior investigative reporter for Epoch Times, and yours truly, Michael Olson, who once dreamed in Chinese of going to live there, but who was dissuaded from doing so by the great helmsman himself, Mao Zedong. Each week, Nan Su and I look out across the broad expanse of the Pacific Ocean from our home port here at SantaCruzVoice.com, and we ask, China now, friend or foe, war or peace? Ni hao, Nan Su.
Hi, morning, and good afternoon and good evening, depends on where you are.
Yeah, we are
Uh,
everywhere, right?
right.
Well,
What you just said actually remind me that it's good for you that you kind of look at whatever Chairman Mao was doing and you made your decision. But Mr. Carney, the Prime Minister of Canada, and there's several others, they are still going to China.
yeah. Well, we'll have to see if we can get to them somehow. Well, Nansu, we are well now into the year of the fire horse. And given how contentious our relationship with China has become, we wonder what being in the year of the fire horse might mean to the coming year. What it's going to be like. Fire horse. Sounds exciting.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how to do fortune telling, so I don't have the crystal ball.
Okay. So, but it is the year of the fire horse, and it might mean something. And what that might mean, we don't know because we're not subscribing to that particular belief, correct?
Well, it will mean something. We'll know that by the end of the year. Well, keep in mind, Trump is going to Beijing in April, and supposedly Xi Jinping is come to visit the United States in December. So there are enough things going on over there.
So,
Come or not come, go and not go. We don't know. That those things can change in any minute.
any minute. Well, let's start off with today with there's some significant moves on the international stage. And one of them is Trump's new approach to the national defense strategy. And there was a wonderful article in Epoch Times by Anthony Graceffo, and he discusses the Trump administration has released two documents, the National Security Strategy and the National Defense Strategy, both of which address the major threats to the United States. And in that document, the Trump administration identifies China as our principal competitor in the world. Can you see any problem with that contention?
Well, I would say not principal competitor, principal adversary, or
Adversary, yeah.
uh, 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 I would prefer just to say China is our enemy.
There you
That's
go, straight up.
Yep.
Has been for 30 years, and we're just coming to that recognition really relatively recently here. And Trump's national security strategy and national defense strategy both address that issue. So, what Trump is saying in these two issues is that we're going to focus first on our Western Hemisphere, which is to say, North and South America. We're going to tighten up our relationship with both of these territories, both diplomatically and defense wise as well. And we could certainly see some moves being made in that direction. One in Panama and the other in Nicaragua and Venezuela, I should say. So we do appear to be working towards that first objective. And then the second objective would be included in that would be the Western Pacific, correct?
Western Western Pacific. Yeah, I think that article is a little bit it's a little bit a wrong read,
Okay.
of the national strategy because Trump did said that that's the down road principle. Basically, we're going to uh focus in the Western Hemisphere.
Right.
That's what he said. But that's not what you mean though. Because that's basically to say we are going to reform our relation with Europe, and we're not going to focus on the Europe, but instead we are going to focus on the Western Pacific. But
That's
that
been
that's
pretty much the play over the last year. I guess it was Vice President Vance who went to the Munich Security Conference and told the folks in Europe, hey, you guys got to get your bleep together and take care of yourself because we're turning about face forward march toward protecting ourselves from China. And that
yeah,
was kind
that's
of a,
it.
yeah,
But if you look at the whole, you're going to look at the whole national security strategy that was published by White House. Actually, it was last November. We talked about that a couple times
yeah,
already. Asia, it's got more than 5 pages. Asia, it's about 5 pages, and the Western Hemisphere, it's only got 4 pages. Europe got barely 2 pages. So basically,
and by the way, there is a Europe. Okay.
yeah. So in the Middle East, they got about 2 pages too. And Africa, it's got a half page. That's what it is. Now you can clearly see there are more Asia than the Western Hemisphere.
Yeah.
So how I look at it, it's Western Hemisphere, it's our backyard, and to shake up our backyard, it's for the purpose to defend the peace in the Asia,
That's right.
in the Western Pacific.
Mhm.
So it's the the actual priority it's in the Western Pacific because if we don't have the urgency in the Western Pacific, then we don't really have that those problems like Venezuela, Cuba, these countries, and the reason we have to deal all these problems now in Panama. We have the reason we have to deal with all these problems in the American continent now is just because if we don't do it, and then we won't have time to do it when the
Yeah.
trouble comes in the Western Pacific.
So,
So
and this these defense documents really are pointing to the Western Pacific and Asia, and of course
And you
China being
mentioned, yeah, and you mentioned, it didn't any, it didn't, it only mentioned in the whole Europe, it only mentioned Germany's name twice. And the reason Germany was mentioned twice is because Germany is building those several largest um, scale chemical plants in China using the oil coming from Russia. So
right,
but Taiwan's name was mentioned 6 times.
right.
So that's where the focus it's actually um, being put.
Well, looking at the Western Hemisphere, we do see some significant problems here with respect to China, and I think one of them is Brazil, but the other one is Canada,
Oh
and
yeah, of course. Well, see, that's what Rubio and Canada, Rubio talk about that, and also in the Davos that the Connie actually gave a speech. He is having the idea of they're going to continue the globalization in the small scale with China.
That's what the deal is. And in fact, we have a story coming up down the line here today where China is digging in to Canada's oil sands. And it appears as though rather than us digging into those sands, China is. So there are significant issues still in the Western Hemisphere, but the big play, of course, is in the Western Pacific, and that would be the first island chain. And then beyond that, the defense documents point to the Indonesia area and
Indo-Pacific area.
Indo-Pacific, yes. So that is where we're pointed as we speak, and that's the line in the sand, I guess, is in the water, at least. And then, though we have turned our back kind of on Europe, they just had a big event in Munich, a Security Conference, in which both Rubio and Wang Yi made presentations. And Rubio's presentations to the Europeans was, hey, we belong together, and that we should look toward working with each other and staying together, and our civilizations are at risk. So it's really important for us to stick together and hold ourselves together. Whereas Wang Yi, the Chinese foreign minister, told the Europeans, hey, China and Europe are partners. We're not adversaries. We need to work together. And so it appears as though though we've turned our back on China, so to speak, there's a tug of war going on between China and the United States for the affection of Europe.
Well, that's true. I mean, I think that Mr. Rubio made a very powerful speech. After the speech that J.D. Vance, Vice President, made last year in the same meeting, same conference. So I think that he says that number one, he shows the unshakable determination that we are going to continue the Western civilization. Basically, say if necessary, the United States will do this thing alone if necessary. But the second thing but we prefer to do these things to try to continue the Western civilization with the Europe together because America is a child of Europe. So that's a very good gesture to invite the whole Europe, to join our journey. I think that's a very nice way to put it, diplomatic. But however, the bottom line is, if Europe doesn't want to join, then we're going to do it all by ourselves. That's basically the statement there. I think that it's clearly. And by the way, Mr. Rubio, when he left United States on his way to Munich, just before he depart, and he took a media interview, and he said the old world that we knew of, it's gone. So I think that
What did he mean by that? No,
I think that's basically what he's trying to tell the people and the media. It's that we're not trying to rebuild the same international order that was very effectively in place after World War II, and we need to build a completely new one. I think that's the most important thing, end goal that we need to realize what Mark Rubio speech mean to us, because we have been criticized. We have been talking about the bad player, like China, Russia. They are destroying the war order that the American led to build after World War II. But now,
Deliberately for the last 30 years.
yes, so we have been talking about that and criticize them, and now we are saying we don't want to find a way to go back to that the same order anymore. We want to build a new one. So I think that I thought about that. I gave it a thought a little bit. Why he's talking about that. Now, if you think about that, after World War II, uh, after Bretton Woods agreement, that laid the base. That's in 1944. That laid out the base for the New World Order. But the New World Order didn't start until 1949. Not New World Order, just World War II.
Sure,
After
World War
World War
II
II
was the
order.
turning point.
Yeah, after World War II, the after World War II, the order was not actually started until 1949, when NATO was built.
All right.
So now after 1949, from 1949 to 1989, that's first of all 40 years. That order, and the war order was actually led by the United States, went very effectively. Uh, uh, but there's two reasons actually. I would say maybe three reasons, right? The first reason is the entire Western world, you know, this alliance in the Western world led by the United States, they shared common values.
Yeah.
That's very
A
important.
civilization.
Yeah, it shares its common value. I would say, uh, it's still people still in the Western world still live in the traditional way. So the common values, and plus there was a super America. America was super strong.
And the
Uh,
rest of the world was super weak after World War II. And a lot of it had been bombed to smithereens. And the world relied on the United States to pick up everybody when it got right down to
yeah,
it.
yeah, and we did, right?
And we did.
So I think, and of course, the third reason, there was an enemy, right? There was a there was a former Soviet Union and the Eastern socialist countries, or you can say communist countries, depends on which definition you go with. So for that three reasons, the order, the global order after World War II actually ran effectively. But then after 1989, everything started changing. In the From 1989 to 2024, I would say that's the year before Trump went back to the White House. That's
1989, very auspicious year for China, was it not?
Say that again.
What happened in 1989?
Oh, in 89, in 1989, it's the fall of Berlin Wall.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, so in 1989, after the fall of Berlin Wall, everything started changing. So from 1989 to 2024, that 35 years, we see the important trend. It's globalization and then free trade and all these things, and all DEI, and meaning DEI,
Diversity,
diversity,
equity, and
equal,
inclusion. Yes.
yeah, and inclusion, right? And then we put China in there. We try to include China. We try to diversify with China.
Well, we tried to build China into us.
Right. So the globalization basically destroyed the columns of the order after World War II, the war order after World War II. Number one, the common value base doesn't, it's gone because we have all these Russia, China, all these countries joining us. Then the you don't see common values anymore, right? We destroy the first uh, fact. fact, the basic elements that and the reason that all the war order ran effectively. There's no common values anymore. That it's just trade. So that's what
Just money.
Mr. Rubio, Mr. Rubio called this euphoria area after Cold War, right?
We
Uh,
call it panda love.
Pendulum. We call it pendulum, yes. And now, in the second, because of that, United States is no longer after 35 years from after 1899 to 2024. United States has not have be, has become has become a country that's no longer super strong anymore.
Right.
Now,
Because
and
we
of
felt we
course.
didn't need to be super strong because we're all a world community and we're just a member of that community and we're not anything more. That's it. We're just a
That
part
was
of
it,
that.
right? So that's I remember during Davos, that's in later part of January, uh that Mr. Scott Basin basically said, between 1980 and 2024, that the United States spend uh, defense budget has defense spending has total together it's 22 trillions more than European country in NATO's national defense spending together. So we spend 22
Trillion.
trillion more than what they spend, which counted as a two-thirds of American government's budget deficit.
And
So
can you blame them when it gets right down to it?
yeah,
That we
because they
were
don't do
willing to
it. They
do
don't
that
even yeah, they don't
here.
even spend money
Yeah.
to protect themselves, and that's why Mr. Basin said that why we are building, we are trying to defend the peace for the entire world. You guys just keep spending on so-called
Social programming.
climate change, education, your health system, so on and so forth, right? And also that Mr. Howard Lutnick, our Secretary of Commerce, basically also he gave another number. He said in 1980, the United States owned the foreign country assets. It's um, $148 billion more than the entire world on American assets. So well, that 148 billion is a lot. It's not a lot, if you divide by so many countries in the world, right? But in 2024, that the foreign countries own more assets than United States own foreign assets for, it was up to $22 trillion. So that we Americans, we are working for the entire world. We are the employees. All the foreign countries, you guys, you are the boss. I mean, if you're the boss, shouldn't you be the one to take care of this security security stuff? Right?
So,
There's no way I'm coming to work for the company, and I also have to get a pay as an employee to do some job, and then after I'm not going to take care of the security. It's the company's responsibility to take care of the security, right?
so what we did, the United States did, Trump administration did, was send a series of good cops and bad cops to the world and say, enough is enough. We're making some changes here.
That's right. So
And
I think, yeah, I think that's it. And I also look at Davos. Davos Foreign, they have their own research institute. They publish a different number. Their number, Lutnick number, it's by the end of 2024. So that 22 trillion. But the Davos Forum Institute, they actually research a different number. Say by the end of 2025, the foreign countries, outside of the United States, own assets in the United States total 48.9 trillion, and while the United States own foreign countries asset 41 trillion. So you know 48.9 minus 21, that's 70, that's 27.9 trillion. So basically, or just say 28 trillion, okay? 28 trillion. So basically, by the end of 2025, foreign countries own more own 28 trillion more American assets than American own foreign countries assets. That's a
And
big,
we
huge number.
welcome that. We welcome that. Come and spend your money here. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is China Now. Michael Olson with Nansu and you. We're talking about the defense strategy put on display in the world courts and the world gatherings by the Trump administration, saying no more New World Order. We're going to make some changes here. And when
Well, so we want to go basically say goodbye to the war order that was built after World War II. Take whatever, and but in Davos, now keep in mind, in Davos, China is the one. China's vice premier He Lifeng basically say they want to lead the globalization. They want to take a lead. They want to the world go to the same direction. In the comparing with the last 35 years of.
And that is Xi Jinping's common destiny presentation.
Of mankind.
We of mankind. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about Trump's pending trip to Beijing to talk with Xi Jinping. And we wonder, will Trump cave to Xi's demand on selling arms to Taiwan? Ooh, do stay tuned. We will be right back.
Your business needs more space? Space is reasonable, secured, and accessible 24/7 for qualified businesses at Anbar Self-Storage and U-Haul. Easy off Highway 1 on Airport Boulevard. Anbar Self-Storage and U-Haul in Freedom.
The kid is moving her family to Sacramento. Anbar Self-Storage and U-Haul has the moving vans, car trailers, and shipping boxes she needs ready to go. Easy off Highway 1 on Airport Boulevard. Anbar Self-Storage and U-Haul in Freedom.
Attention investors. This is a simple commercial on the investment value of gold. Gold continues to make new highs. In good markets and in bad markets, you need to have your portfolio balanced with gold. Learn about owning physical gold or getting a gold-backed IRA. Make this simple call right now.
800-414-1657. 800-414-1657. That's 800-414-1657.
Sponsored by Reagan Gold.
There's more than one way to enjoy the benefits of cannabis. Hi, I'm Johnny from the Hook Outlet in Capitola, Santa Cruz, and Watsonville. With topicals. The Hook Outlet has many topical preparations that provide localized relief for pain and inflammation of muscles and joints without psychoactive effects. The Hook Outlet has a friendly staff to help you select the right topical for your needs. Pain relief, anyone? Stop by and say hi at the Hook Outlet in Capitola, Santa Cruz, and Watsonville.
Find us fast online at hookoutlet.com.
The weather will change. Knox Roofing here. We all remember the story of the three little pigs. We all know the third pig hired Knox Roofing to do his roof. Every day he crawls into his home knowing no wind, no earthquake, fire, or even the big bad wolf can hurt his house. The weather will change for the good and sometimes not so good. Have a Knox roof installed on your home, and one thing you can be certain of, good security. I promise you that. The number to call is 461-0634. Thanks, folks.
Woman 为的来的，我们是中国现在 with Nansu and Michael Olson and you. We're talking about Trump's pending trip to China, 在中国 And well, what's going to happen, Nansu? Just recently, the federal government passed a Taiwan arms agreement. We were going to spend a lot of money helping build up Taiwan's defense against possible Chinese invasion. And
Well, that's
now,
arms sales. That's arms sales, not the money we spend. Taiwan need to spend.
yes, and Taiwan is buying the arms from us.
Yeah, it's 11.1 billion dollars arms sales that was recently Trump announced, and then he also gave out the order that all the defense companies, defense industry companies in the United States, they cannot do stock buyback, and they cannot do the profit sharing. Every penny they earned, and they made have to be reinvest into the reproduction. So because all these defense contracts have been years delay, for years, and you sign the defense contract with some countries, then we're going to provide those defense equipment and weaponry ammunitions the contract we signed last year, the December, it's not going to be actually executed until 2028 or maybe even 2029. That's just not acceptable.
Okay. Now, Trump, it's a year of the fire horse, whatever that means. But it sounds exciting because a fire horse is by nature exciting. And Trump is going to Beijing and Xi Jinping is going to Washington, D.C. In a recent phone call, they talked about many things, Trump and Xi Jinping. And of course, Trump says, I have an excellent relationship with Xi Jinping. I'm sure we can work out a lot of issues. But Xi Jinping is saying, you can't go about arming Taiwan. You have to stop that.
Well, that's what he said every time he had a chance to talk.
Every time he has a chance, that's what he says. So now we all know that Trump loves to make a deal. He is the author of The Art of the Deal. And as we've seen throughout his presidencies, that's what he likes doing, is making deals. Now he's going to Beijing, and Xi Jinping is going to ask him not to sell arms to Taiwan. What is Trump going to do?
Well, just don't announce any new arms sales to Taiwan. Just don't announce any new deals until he comes back from Beijing, right? It's just pretty simple.
Well, it's going to be interesting timing because right now we have a huge armada off Iran, which is Xi Jinping and the CCP's client state in the Middle East. And it's kind of interesting programming or timing, because if Trump makes his move on Tehran right before he goes to talk with Xi Jinping, that's interesting in itself. But the big key is what he is going to do with the arms sales to Taiwan.
Well, he was criticized. Well, first thing is like that. I don't think the reporter, whoever asked him the question on Air Force One, actually knew what he's talking about. And then
that happens, doesn't it? That happens.
Right. Yeah, because there was a 6 assurance made by the President Reagan to Taiwan that we don't consult with Beijing before we make any decisions on arms sales to Taiwan, right? And now the reporter asked the question, did you talk to Xi Jinping about the arms sales because Xi Jinping has been angry after the decision was made that we will do we will do
11
11.1
billion. Well,
billion.
how angry was Xi Jinping? What
Well, Xi
happened, right?
Jinping, yeah, Xi Jinping criticized just
Not only that, he put on a pretty big display of anger with his mock invasion of Taiwan too, didn't he? His
yeah,
demonstration there.
they put one of the biggest military drill,
Yeah.
well, doesn't matter, they're always angry, and they're always trying to, their provocative behavior around outside of their border, it's always there, now, I think that Trump basically said, "Yeah, we were talking about that." He answered the reporter, right? So, and that just basically invoke a huge wave of talk. Oh, yeah, we are violating the sixth assurance. One of the six assurances is that we don't consult with Beijing when we make decisions on arms sales to Taiwan. Now, I think that it's a casual discussion over there that I don't think actually President Trump violated the sixth assurance because when we made a decision of the 11.1 billion arms sales to Taiwan, we didn't consult with Beijing. But however, what Trump mean in Air Force One was, basically he need, we don't consult with them, but when he has a phone call with Xi Jinping, if Xi Jinping want to raise up this
Or
raise,
of course he's going to raise the question, right?
yeah, well, then you need to talk to him about it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't say, he didn't say we need to get Xi Jinping's permission in order for us to do anything. He just said, I talked to him about that. That basically means, hey, if you're sitting at a table talking to someone and and that person asking a question, then you have to answer, right? It's doesn't mean that
But you're consulting, but you are consulting because you're talking.
yeah.
So it's a yes and no kind of thing. But let me ask you, Nansu, we all know that Donald Trump loves to make a deal. He is the author of the art of the deal. And he's going to Beijing to talk with Xi Jinping. And wouldn't it be a great coup if he could come back with a deal of some kind?
Well,
That's what he's going to.
I think the U.S. State Department and Beijing's foreign ministry
Yeah,
are.
Wang Yi, we talked
Oh,
about.
I think they have been in some sort of negotiation for the things. Hey, come on, the deal has not been materialized yet, and the trip has not been materialized yet. So, if they can come to the agreement on the U.S. State Department and the Chinese Foreign Ministry, if they can come to the deal of basically a framework, what Xi Jinping
Yeah.
and Trump are going to sign on the kind of documents, that all it means Trump is not going.
Oh, there you go. Well, that's kind of what I was thinking. But I wonder if, let's say, Trump had the sense that he could strike a deal. What Xi Jinping wants is no arms sales to Taiwan. What kind of deal could then Trump extract if he were to say, okay, we'll sell it?
That's a deal breaker. I think
in our estimation it is. But what if there was something so valuable in Trump's eyes that he might say yes to that? What could that possibly be? What could Xi Jinping possibly offer Donald Trump that would induce Trump to not sell arms to Taiwan? What could Xi Jinping possibly offer?
Nothing. I don't think Xi Jinping can offer anything to stop the arms sale because the Taiwan is the center of actually the target, the center focus point actually.
Of Xi Jinping's whole existence?
No. It was a center focus point. I'm talking about arms sales. Arms sales is the center focus point of Trump's national defense security strategy that we talk about, which was published in November. He mentioned Taiwan's name for 6 times, basically.
Okay.
So, if it's so, and he mentioned no other nations except China and United States, right? Because one is this is the main opponent against each other. But besides China, United States, and Taiwan, mentioned 6 times specifically in the part, talking about Asia. Yeah, Asia, it's got the biggest part in the whole strategy.
Right.
So I think that if we make a deal on that, I think that I think if Xi Jinping asks for that, it's a deal breaker, basically.
I don't know. I've been trying to think what he could possibly offer Trump that would even have Trump thinking about not selling arms to Taiwan. I have no idea what it could be.
I don't know there's anything that's more important than the Western Pacific, especially now. Not only Taiwan, but Japan is also it's also got involved, right? Because Japanese Prime Minister Takaichi basically said if China militarily invade Taiwan, then Japan is going to militarily intervene, right? So it's just so important to arm Taiwan to make Taiwan capable of defending itself. This is the urgency. This is the urgent issue that's the only urgent issue right now for us to defend the peace. Trump need a time to make need a time so that he can make America great again. But if a war that breaks out in the Western Pacific, then all of his plan will be thrown out of the windows.
Year of the Fire Horse. The Fire Horse seems to me like a very aggressive kind of critter. Never met a fire horse before, but just
but also you think about that. It's the trip itself is also important because that's the way we try to calm Beijing's leader. We try to calm Xi Jinping down, calm him down, so that the diplomacy it's always, besides it's just like 2 hands, right? You have to strengthen Taiwan militarily, and also you have to do the diplomacy work. So it's kind of like which.
Yeah. So right now, Xi Jinping domestically is in a position where he is afraid to show himself in public. I noticed that he had a big meeting with his military people, and it was all done on closed circuit television. He was afraid to actually face them, as it were. And he hasn't been seen in public to any great extent recently.
Well, he just came out on the 18th. Okay. He just came out on the 18th, and in a big meeting, so-called it's a Chinese New Year greeting, right? So every year they does that. They do that, to greet all the high-level people. And then he had a speech that summarized what was the success of 2025, and
what did he say was this big success in 2025?
Well, he said several things. Number one, it's to it's they had a successful fourth plenary meeting, right? And then they draft out the 15th 5-year economic plan, and then they had I believe the next thing is they made the announcement. They established the so-called Taiwan's Return Day, right? The celebration of Taiwan's Return Day. Then uh, 'cause-
Okay.
because they say that's um we talk about that, right? Because October 25, it's the day that um, in World War II, based on U.S. military command's order that the then Chiang Kai-shek's government, right? That's before Communist Party took over of China, right? That was Chiang Kai-shek's government. Chiang Kai-shek's government received the surrender of Japanese military in Taiwan. Now that's the day that Taiwan, they have a 1 day vacation for years to recognize that day. So last year, October 24th, People's Congress in Beijing also passed a law which make that day a national holiday in China. And but however, the China's foreign deputy foreign ministry's deputy in UN also on October 25th, the first Taiwan's return day, that they actually held a press conference and also a big party in UN. They during the party they say that the reason they set up that as a national holiday, it's in 1971 that the UN passed Resolution 2758, which is to give China the formal seat in UN and expel Chiang Kai-shek's government from UN, right? So
Right.
it happened on the same day. Okay, it happened on the same day. So so there's two different interpretation.
It's kind of
So I
interesting. It's kind of interesting, Nansu, because it's almost like a false presentation because the Taiwan was not given to the Chinese Communist Party. It was given to the Chiang Kai-shek's government, to the people
yeah.
of Taiwan. So, and it's
First of all,
almost like
now
it's almost like
keep in mind, we did not give Taiwan to even Chiang Kai-shek's government.
that's right. That's right.
We have to be crystal clear on that. We allow Chiang Kai-shek's government to receive the Japanese military's surrender in Taiwan, October 25th of 1945. But we didn't give the sovereignty of Taiwan to Chiang Kai-shek's government. And that's why in last December, which was just 4 months ago or 5 months ago, U.S. State Department say Taiwan's status has not been decided, right? And
Essentially, the United States holds the paper on
yeah, we are
Taiwan.
still holding the paper, right? So and Taiwan's foreign ministries basically said in 1949, Chiang Kai-shek signed a document basically said United States government at that time entrusted Taiwan's government to manage the island. We entrusted them to manage the island. We didn't give the sovereignty to them. That's very important.
Now,
And it all
has Xi Jinping and the CCP acknowledged that arrangement?
they did not acknowledge it. They say uh they they disagree with the San Francisco Treaty. I mean, because the San Francisco Treaty was whatever that start everything in when San Francisco Treaty was signed between 48 winning nations of World War II with Japan. Basically, in that agreement, That's supposedly the official ending of
World War II,
World War
1955,
II,
right?
not 1945, right? Because 1945 it was Japan surrendered, but the peace treaty did not sign until 1951. Now, in that treaty, Japan gave away Taiwan's sovereignty, but it did not say who the sovereignty will be given to. And at that time, at the moment San Francisco Treaty was signed, history recognized that it was the United States, the ultimate ruler of Taiwan, because ever since 1945, right, the surrender of Japanese military, that the Truman's had a presidential executive order that basically made a U.S. military commander in Pacific, that the ultimate, the supreme military leader of Japan, including Taiwan, because keep in mind at that time, Taiwan sovereignty belonged to Japan, and the entire Japanese government and Japanese emperor are the subordinate of a U.S. military supreme leader. So basically, Japan has been under the leadership of is the United States, and that including Taiwan, right? So in 1951, when San Francisco Treaty was signed, when Japan gave away the sovereignty of Taiwan, but without just clearly saying who the sovereignty will be given to, then Taiwan became a land that's up for grab. And based on the international law, for the islands without sovereignty being claimed, whoever has it, it's yours. And at that time, United States, basically U.S. government, it's the ultimate ruler of Taiwan. So we have every reason to claim the sovereignty of Taiwan. But however, we have not formally done that. And so that's why President Truman spoke many times between 1951, after the signing of San Francisco Treaty, until 1954. That's 3 years. Truman said many times Taiwan's status has not been decided.
And it still hasn't. And
it still has not. It's purely the business between U.S. government and Taiwan's government now. And China has no business in this.
although it certainly doesn't think it doesn't have any business in
That's
it. That's for sure. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is the year of the fire horse, and so it would appear with respect to our relationship with Europe and with respect to our relationship with China and the entire Western Pacific. And so we look to Trump's forthcoming trip to in April to China and wonder what kind of deal Trump can possibly pull off. Going to be interesting, so keep your eyes and ears on that one. Next hour, we have lots of incredible stories, including how Japan resists China's bullying, Peru ousts its president, China extends visa-free visits to Canadians, and China buying up U.S. farmland. All kinds of good stories coming up in hour 2 after the top of the hour. So please do stay tuned. We will be right back.